If you need a portable, powerful, handheld audio recorder, the Tascam DR-05 is the one for you. Or at least that's what Tascam would have you believe, but are they right? So let me start off by saying that the entirety of this video is going to be done with my Tascam DR-05. Everything you hear is straight from it, and I'll show off a few different situations as well. I'll also note that the mic is $78 US on Amazon.com and $116 Canadian on Amazon.ca. And if you're interested, you can see my unboxing of it here. So right now, I'm just holding the recorder by a handle on the bottom, and this is how it would be used a lot of the time. A lot of these recorders are used by journalists giving interviews in the field, and they have really good sound quality, so they're pretty great for that. So what I really recommend using is to make use of the 1/4-inch tripod mount on the bottom and connect a handle like this. This is actually the Vivitar VT2 pocket tripod, but it actually makes a pretty good handle. And you can also buy like dedicated handles as well. So here's my first complaint actually, the aforementioned tripod mount. It's really useful, but it's made out of plastic and it broke pretty much the first time I screwed something into it. Now obviously I tried to tighten it a little too much, but still that's pretty poor in my opinion. And what I ended up doing was purposefully breaking the rest of the plastic out and gluing in a metal 1/4-inch tripod mount, which has actually worked pretty well, although it's not pretty. So yeah, be careful not to tighten anything too much in here. So holding the recorder like this is probably the main intended use, but as it turns out, it's really great for a few other things. What you're hearing now is my Sony ECM CS3 lav mic plugged into the Tascam's 3.5mm microphone input jack. And as you can see, or hear, it's giving me a really clear sound quality that's actually miles ahead of what I get with the lav mic plugged into my Canon Rebel T3i camera. And because of the short cord on the lav mic, plugging it into the Tascam is actually great because I can keep the Tascam in my pocket or just sitting on the desk next to me, and it's really awesome. And now we're back to me just holding the Tascam recording straight from its own microphones. So with this device, you will need a micro SD card, although it comes with a 2GB one, and you'll need 2 AA batteries, which seem to last a few hours. It's hard to say because I record in pretty short sessions, and that's pretty much it. When it comes to getting recordings off of the device, you can either connect your computer through the included mini USB port and cable, or you can take out the micro SD card and put it into a computer if you have a port. I use a micro SD to full-size adapter, and that works pretty well for me. Interestingly, you can also power the device using the USB port, so if you've got a portable power bank, you should be able to just plug it in and run it off of that. Very cool. Also, there's a headphone jack, but I found it to be pretty iffy in a lot of ways. If you're using it to live preview what's coming through the microphone, it gives you really distorted, bad quality that makes it seem like the audio you're getting is unusable when it's actually fine. Just, it sounds terrible through the headphones. So, the headphone port sucks. There is a built-in speaker though, which is a bit better for reviewing audio you just recorded. It's not obviously super high quality, but at least you can tell, if you can hear the person talking. So overall, this is a pretty versatile mic, and it's good for quick interviews in non-ideal situations, like you're just, in a crowded press conference or something. That's a very real use case for it. And plugging another microphone in through the 3.5mm jack is actually awesome, and voiceovers in ideal situations are awesome. I've even used the mic with a pop filter and a stand, almost like a boom mic. I did that with my Dell XPS 15 review here. And it turned out to have really good audio, although unfortunately I screwed up the camera angle on that one. From now on, everything you're hearing is with the Tascam sitting on my desk with a pop filter and me speaking very close to it. This is an excellent configuration for the highest quality of narration you can get with the device, and it's one I often use for videos where I'm not in front of the camera, like my PS4 hard drive upgrade video. All of the buttons on the front of the device are very clicky, and not at all the sort of thing you're likely to find yourself wondering if you actually pressed them when you meant to. You can also configure a lot of options in the menu, such as recording quality and format between WAV files at 16 or 24-bit, and MP3s from 32K up to 320K, as well as sample rate from 44.1K up to 96K. You can change between stereo and mono, and size, which is the maximum clip size you can record before it breaks it up. So for example, if you set it to the lowest size, which is 64 megabytes, it shows you with these quality settings that's around a minute of recording. And so if you then record 10 minutes of audio, it'll be broken up into approximately 10 64 megabyte clips, or however many clips it takes at 64 megabytes each to record all of the audio you did. There are also several other options which are all a bit over my head, but may be really useful for you if you know really more about how they work. There's also some file management where you can actually create new folders and save your recordings into them instead. You can't choose the name of the folder exactly, but it could still be really useful just to make multiple folders for, let's say, if you're doing multiple interviews or something. So that could be a really useful organizational tool. You can turn the speaker that's built in on or off. Turning it on lets you review clips without headphones on the device, and there are other options like date and time, what default clip names are, effects that can be applied during recording, and even a tuner. So that's most of what I want to talk about actually, but I do just really quickly want to go over input volume, and also this hold slider right here. So, if you turn this switch on the left side of the recorder to its on position, the Tascam will ignore all input so you don't have to worry about accidentally hitting a button and stopping a recording in the middle, although it will pop up with this message telling you that the hold slider is on if the Tascam itself is on. That said, you'll want to be careful, as if the device is off and the switch is on, it straight up won't turn on. And I literally thought my Tascam was broken at one point because I didn't know about this switch and couldn't get the recorder to turn on. Fortunately, my girlfriend knew better than I did, and she showed me how it works. So the last thing I'll show you before we wrap up is how I start my recordings. So aside from the options like format and sample, there's also input volume. To set input volume, press the record button. You'll see the record indicator light blinking. It's actually not recording yet, it's just in kind of a record prep mode, and it doesn't start recording until you hit the record button again, and the light will go solid when it starts recording. You can do this in either prep mode or actual recording mode. You use the backward and forward buttons on the front of the device to adjust the input volume, and this shouldn't affect the quality of the recording, at least in my experience. I don't know exactly how it all works, but it doesn't worry me in the slightest. It's never affected my quality at all. So here's what I do, whether I'm using the built-in microphone or an external plugged-in. I enter the recording prep mode and turn the input volume all the way up to 90, the maximum. Then I just speak like I'm planning to speak in the recording at the same distance and volume from the mic, and you'll see this peak light come on a few times. That means that the audio is peaking or essentially getting too loud, and when it does that, the quality sounds really bad. It's like you're overloading the microphone almost, and it gets really staticky and it gets really distorted. So peaks are bad, we don't want peaks. But when we do this, and it does peak, it should engage the auto peak reduction feature and turn down the input volume a bit automatically. So I just keep talking and stuff until I stop seeing the light come on. And you'll see now, if we check by hitting either the left or right, the input volume has come down a lot. So it's reduced the input volume to the point that should be the highest possible without getting peaks based on the volume I was speaking at. Now I just hit record and do my thing. This has worked really well for me in the past, and it's a really important step because quiet audio is bad, and loud audio with a ton of peaks is bad. So I really recommend doing this. And if you record in the same circumstances all the time, like for example, you just put your Tascam somewhere and whenever you want to use it, you just turn it on and record, you might even just be able to find the input volume that works best for you and always put it there without having to use the auto peak reduction. It's also important to note that if you want to use the auto peak reduction, you have to turn it on as it comes off by default. To do that, put it in recording prep mode by pressing the record button once so the light is flashing but not solid, clicking the quick menu button, which is the top right one, hitting the play button on level control, and then hitting the play button after scrolling down onto peak reduction. I'll also show you really quickly the information you get when you're recording on screen. This includes things like how long you've been recording, the name of the file you're currently recording, and this includes if you switch clips, it'll increment that to another file and show you that on screen, the quality settings, and how much longer you can record before it's going to break it up into another clip. I'll also say that the screen might be a bit hard to see outside. I haven't really used it outside, that's just a guess, but there are power saving and screen options in the settings. So yeah, if you like the sound of all this, and you don't need features like full XLR size microphone input that you'll find on higher end models, this could be a really good choice for you. But that's it, guys. If you liked this video, hit that like button, and if you loved it, get subscribed and ring that bell to get a notification whenever I post. Let me know your thoughts with a comment down below. Are you thinking about getting a Tascam DR-05? Do you already have one? If you're interested in buying this or other cool stuff, check out the Amazon links in the video description that have my affiliate code that helps me out when you buy something. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch, also in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.